level?
Well, our next guest is a card-carrying member of the NRA and one of the NRA's top spokeswomen. Please welcome to the program, Erica Tergeson. Erica, thanks for coming on the program. I'm sure you heard Ms. Psaki's soundbite yesterday. I'm sure you saw the statement put out over the weekend that made headlines Monday morning about the president saying point blank, if Congress won't act, we're coming for the, and I hate this term, assault rifles, because an AR-15 is not an assault rifle. Get it right. We're coming after your large magazines. We're coming after background checks. They want them all. Forget it. I don't know what to think.
Well, first, thanks for having me, Dan. I appreciate it. And you are right. Joe Biden is well on his way to being the most anti-gun, the most anti-self-defense president that we've had in American history. And nothing in his proposals would make Americans any safer, nor would they cut crime in any way.
Yeah, let's talk about this big, the left and these liberals in charge now, especially today, with their assault on our rights, because that's what it is. They are trying to take away our Second Amendment rights. I firmly believe that. I used to be a little bit more timid about making that statement maybe 10 years ago, but today, no way. They're coming for them. Mm-hmm. This legislation, 127, H.R. 127, your thoughts on that? I mean, just insane. Wanting us to not only register every single gun we purchase, but then tell the government and make it public on where we put them and how we secure them.
Right. They're making no bones about their attacks on the Second Amendment, and it's all lined out in that bill right there. Since you brought up AR-14s and 15s, I would like to talk about assault weapons and the so-called assault weapon ban that they would have. This is very difficult to do because, as you and I know, there's no real definition of an assault weapon. It's really just something that looks scary to the left. So they would ban AR-15s, which are the most popular and one of the most widely owned rifles in America. He also wants to ban high-capacity magazines. And that's a problem because as a 5'2" female, I don't want Joe Biden telling me how many bullets I can have in my magazine to defend myself against someone who is 3 times my size.
Such a good point. And I'd like to point out, because we had on, and I'm sure you're familiar with this gentleman, we had on Andrew Pollack yesterday on the program, and you know him very well, I'm sure. His daughter was lost in the Parkland shooting.
Yes.
He pointed out the fact that a lot of the school shootings to which the left use as their platform when they're saying take the guns and take the AR-15 specifically, a lot of these mass shootings didn't even happen with an AR-15. Some of them just had pistols or different hunting rifles. They didn't have AR-15s. Yes, some did. But to say that it's all this gun's fault, or to say it's any gun's fault, Andrew and I agreed so well on that just relieves all responsibility of the person behind the weapon and the system that failed them, like at Parkland, where sheriff's deputies have been to that kid's house like 45 times and never told the school. The system broke down, his family let him down, the community let him down, and self-responsibility. Not the weapon killed those poor kids at that school. And now they want to come after manufacturers, too, it looks like, in the Biden administration.
Absolutely. They are going after not only manufacturers, but also gun dealers. And they want to allow predatory and frivolous lawsuits to put these guys out of business. The problem with that, as you know, is it makes it harder for you and I to obtain the firearms that we need to protect ourselves. It's very scary.
So under their rationale, to me, then, okay, we're going to open the door, Pandora's box, and now I can sue a car manufacturer if somebody gets drunk and then hits me and injures me because they were driving the car that hit me and injured me. I mean, that's really what they're saying by saying we're going to come after the gun manufacturers and the dealers.
That's absolutely what they're saying. So the gun manufacturers and the dealers especially would be responsible for the actions of the individual that has that firearm. And by the way, most criminals don't get their guns from actual gun dealers. They get them from other criminals.
Yes. I mean, it's an old cliche, but it is more, I think, poignant today than ever, that if you take guns from the law-abiding citizens, then only criminals will have guns. They honestly think that the thugs and gangs in like a Chicago or a Los Angeles are just going to come forward when they enact this legislation and go, here's my gat. Let me give it to you. We don't need it. Yeah. Insane. I got to ask you this one. What is, and I'm sure your millions of members want to know, what's the NRA doing right now as we speak to combat this bold move by the Biden administration? Because we got to stop this. We got to nip it in the bud now.
Right. Well, it's important to know that the Biden administration still hasn't sent any actual legislation to the Congress. So we're still waiting on that. And the other thing to remember is that Biden didn't get elected because of his gun control policies. He didn't want to talk about them at all. And when he was asked about them, he said he supported the Second Amendment. So the NRA is going to fight the Biden administration every step of the way in the courts, in the legislatures, and in the states by preempting them and legalizing like concealed carry laws or permitless carry in a lot of states. So we're working on every level to ensure the Second Amendment is protected.
And last question on this line of questioning would be, what should Americans do to keep their voices heard, that we want our Second Amendment rights? We don't want any of it infringed upon. That means you don't touch the magazines, you don't touch certain guns, you touch nothing. What should we be doing?
Right. First, of course, I would recommend joining the NRA. And the second thing you can do is letting your U.S. senators and U.S. representatives know that you don't support any gun control bills.
And Erica, I'm doing this with all guests today to honor the late, great conservative icon, I'm calling him because I truly believe he was, Rush Limbaugh. We got a few seconds left. If you've got maybe a moment, maybe you met the man, maybe there was a show that turned something on in your life, you heard a statement he made, give us something about Rush today before we leave you.
I can't say that I was a Rush baby. I'm a little too old for that, but I was basically a Rush baby. I grew up listening to him all the time. I still listen to him and prayed for him, and there's no one that can fill his shoes. He was an incredible patriot for America.
Totally agree. There will be no other Rush. Erica Tergeson from the NRA, thank you so much for coming on the program. We appreciate it. You take care. Be safe.
Thank you.
Yep. Coming up,